There's only one publicly known photo of one of the most wanted men on Earth. Nobody tells you where the photo comes from, but we have heard that US authorities were able to get a copy of the passport when it was scanned at one of the airports that he used. So if you look who is normally most wanted by the US with $5 million rewards, that is, for example, El Chapo, the famous drug lord, or Osama bin Laden. Those were household names. You could go on the street here in Amsterdam, everybody would know who El Chapo is. But go out here and ask, who's Li Fangwei? And I guess the normal answer would be like, who what? Carl what? Li what?
Onderzoeksjournalist Frederik Obermeier ging op zoek naar de man achter de foto. Wie is hij?
We know that Li started his network with basically a family business. He grew up in a very rural part of China. He built up a network of companies.
Zijn eerste bedrijf nam hij over van zijn vader, die waarschijnlijk tijdens de culturele revolutie terecht kwam in de afgelegen havenstad Dalian.
What he basically then built was like a one-stop shop for somebody who wants to build missiles.
Volledig onder de radar organiseerde Li Fangwei, of Carl Li zoals hij zich ook wel noemt, een netwerk van bedrijven die de grondstoffen, de onderdelen en vooral ook de precisie-elektronica konden leveren die nodig zijn om langeafstandsraketten te bouwen. Eén land in het bijzonder was daar zeer in geïnteresseerd: Iran.
They already were able to build missiles that have a by far bigger range than before, but there was one missing piece that they could not build and develop on their own. That was basically the brain of the missile that enabled the missile to hit its target. Because of the sanctions, it was super difficult for Iran to buy these parts, and Li Fangwei was the one person who offered it.
Uniek is dat Li Fangwei zo lang uit de handen van de FBI en de CIA wist te blijven.
Li Fangwei was able to do so, to continue his business for more than 2 decades. I mean, it was the US started to hunt him under George W. Bush, and George W. Bush feels like history.
Alle regeringen van de VS die daarna kwamen, hebben geprobeerd om Li Fangwei te stoppen. Maar steeds wist China het onderzoek te vertragen of te saboteren.
Whenever we saw like new sanctions popping up, the US naming new Carl Li connected companies, we saw in the Panama Papers that he didn't use them anymore because he already had created new companies with new names that the US had not recognized yet. So he was always one step ahead of US law enforcement.
Dat kon alleen maar met de steun of in ieder geval de goedkeuring van de Chinese autoriteiten.
I think it's hard to imagine that a surveillance state like China would not be able to stop him if they wanted.
De vraag is dus, waarom beschermt China een wapenhandelaar die in strijd met internationale afspraken rakettechnologie levert aan een land dat druk bezig is atoomwapens te ontwikkelen?
I think Li was an important playing card in a way, because Li helped Iran and is helping Iran.
China is al een tijdje bezig om het machtigste land ter wereld te worden. Dat Iran raketten kan bouwen en leveren aan Rusland komt de Chinezen goed uit. De raketten uit Iran verzwakken het imago van de VS. En zoiets doe je natuurlijk niet openlijk.
In the end, China is still not delivering weapons directly to Russia because it's like a Chinese businessman who helped Iran to build up a missile program, and Iran would then be the country delivering it to Russia. So China could still stand back and like, hey, that's not us.
Een belangrijke voorwaarde is dan wel dat de handelaar totaal onzichtbaar blijft en niet berucht en bekend, zoals bijvoorbeeld de Russische wapenhandelaar Viktor Bout. Hij werd bekend als de koopman van de dood, omdat hij half Afrika van wapens voorzag, wat duizenden levens kostte. Er werd zelfs een film over zijn leven gemaakt.
I was an equal opportunity merchant of death. I supplied every army but the Salvation Army.
When we speak about weapons dealers, I think most of us think about rifles, pistols, hand grenades.
Yes.
That's stuff that every one of us would immediately identify.
Yes.
But in these days, the more dangerous stuff is gyroscopes, accelerators. That is stuff, if a normal person would stand in front of a container full of gyroscopes, I guess there would be only few persons who would be able to identify it as first as gyroscopes and second as parts being able to be used in missiles.
Frederik schreef het boek samen met zijn collega Bastiaan Obermeier. Overigens geen familie. Zij hebben hun sporen verdiend met de Panama Papers.
Hallo.
They were responsible for really one of the biggest scoops in modern time.
Frederik hoopt dat met dit nieuwe boek opsporings- en andere instanties een beetje wakker worden.
Because it's not only about the shipment, it's also about him transferring money. And this is where Western banks are involved. They could act if they want. And even the European Union could act. The US have sanctioned him and his companies. The Australians have done so. But the European Union so far has not sanctioned his companies.
And why is that?
I think it touches European-Chinese relationships.
Europa denkt dat het probleem China totaal iets anders is dan bijvoorbeeld Rusland en de oorlog in Oekraïne. Maar dat is niet zo.
All the experts we spoke with tell us this is a question of weeks, maybe even days, till a missile that was built with the help of Carl Li hits Ukraine, knowing that Russia has already acquired hundreds of drones from Iran and has very long talks already with Iran about the delivery of missiles.
En hoe is het ondertussen met Li Fangwei, alias Carl Li? Ondanks vele verzoeken kregen de twee journalisten hem nooit te spreken. Maar hij leeft nog wel. Zeer comfortabel zelfs.
We hear that he is a big fan of fast and expensive cars and very nice tailored suits.
En hij is nog steeds levensgevaarlijk, waarschuwt Frederik Obermeier.
He is a very dangerous person in a very dangerous field of business. And we did not watch this field enough. We did not look into the missiles trade, the dealing with parts of missiles enough, because what evil figures can do with his technology is by far more dangerous than one could do with hundreds of, for example, rifles.